I sat alone in the darkness of our living room, the only light coming from the street lamp outside our window. It was past midnight, and I found myself staring at the wedding ring on my finger, turning it slowly. 3 years ago, Diane and I laughed together in this very room, planning our future. We talked about kids' vacations, growing old together. But somewhere along the way, those dreams faded into silence. The warmth we once shared had turned cold, replaced by a phrase I had grown to dread. Not tonight. Those 2 words had become the soundtrack of my marriage, and tonight everything was about to change. Before I tell you how I turned my entire life around, I would love to know where you are watching this from. Drop your location in the comments, hit that like button, and subscribe if you want to see how a man reclaims his worth when everything seems lost. Trust me, this journey goes places you would not expect. Now let me take you back to where it all started falling apart. Diane and I met 5 years ago at a marketing firm in downtown Denver. I was a graphic designer, she was a marketing coordinator, and we clicked instantly. She had this energy about her, this confidence that drew people in. When she laughed, the whole room seemed brighter. Our first date was at a small Italian restaurant near 16th Street Mall. We talked for 4 hours straight, and I knew right then she was special. We dated for 2 years before I proposed. I planned this elaborate scavenger hunt around the city, each clue leading to a place that mattered to us. The final clue brought her to Red Rocks Amphitheater at sunset, where I got down on one knee. She said yes before I even finished asking. 6 months later, we got married in a small ceremony with close friends and family. We moved into a 2-bedroom apartment in the suburbs, nothing fancy, but it was ours. Life was good those first months. I made around $75,000 a year. As a designer, she pulled in about $55,000. We split bills, evenly cooked dinner together on weekends, binged shows on Netflix, and took small road trips to the mountains. Our intimacy was natural, effortless. We connected on every level, or so I thought. I genuinely believed we had found what everyone searches for. Then 6 months into our marriage, Diane got promoted to senior marketing manager. Her salary jumped to $85,000, suddenly higher than mine. I was genuinely proud of her. I took her out to celebrate, told everyone I knew about her success. She deserved it. She worked hard, stayed late, gave everything to her job. But with that promotion came changes I did not anticipate. She started coming home later. 7 o'clock became 8, then 9, then 10. When I asked about her day, she gave short answers. Meetings ran long. Clients needed attention. Projects demanded extra hours. I believed her because why would I not? This was my wife, the woman I trusted completely. But our connection started slipping. Date nights became rare. Conversations grew shorter, and our physical relationship began to fade. At first it was subtle. We went from being intimate 3 or 4 times a week to maybe once or twice. When I tried to initiate, she would say she was tired. "Not tonight, honey. I am exhausted from work." I understood. New position, more responsibilities, higher stress. I backed off, gave her space. I tried to be supportive. I would massage her shoulders, run her a bath, cook her favorite meals. I did everything I could think of to show I cared. But the rejection continued. 3 months after her promotion, intimacy dropped to once or twice a month. Every time I reached for her hand, she pulled away. Every time I leaned in for a kiss, she turned her cheek. Every time I suggested we spend time together, she had an excuse. I started feeling invisible in my own marriage. The woman who once could not keep her hands off me now flinched when I touched her shoulder. I tried talking to her. Really talking. I sat her down one evening and said we needed to reconnect. She looked at me like I was bothering her. "You are too needy, Harrison. I need space." That word needy hit me hard. Was I needy for wanting my wife to actually want me? For hoping we could be close like we used to be? I did not think so. But her words made me question everything. So I gave her space. I stopped initiating. I stopped asking for date nights. I stopped trying to hold her hand. I figured if she needed room to breathe, I would give it to her. Maybe she would come back to me when she was ready. Weeks turned into months. The distance between us grew from inches to miles. We lived in the same apartment but existed in separate worlds. Then came our 3rd wedding anniversary. I wanted to do something special to remind us both of what we had. I took the day off work, cleaned the entire apartment, bought fresh flowers, and cooked her favorite meal from scratch. herb-crusted salmon with roasted vegetables and garlic mashed potatoes. I set the table with candles, put on soft music, even bought a bottle of expensive wine. When she walked through the door at 9:30, she seemed surprised. "What is all this?" she asked. "Our anniversary," I reminded her. "I wanted to make it special." She smiled, but it did not reach her eyes. "That is sweet, Harrison." We sat down to eat. I tried to make conversation to reminisce about our wedding day, our honeymoon in Maui, all the good times. She nodded along but kept checking her phone. After dinner, I cleaned up while she scrolled through her messages. Later that night, I tried to be close to her. I held her hand, told her I loved her, that I missed us. I missed the connection we used to have. She pulled her hand away. "Not tonight, Harrison. I have a headache." My heart sank, but I tried one more time. "It is our anniversary," I said softly. "We have not been close in so long." She turned to face me, and the look in her eyes was something I had never seen before. Cold, distant, almost cruel. "Not tonight, or any night, Harrison. I am just not attracted to you anymore." The words hung in the air like poison. I felt my chest tighten, my throat close up. What I managed to whisper. She sighed like I was inconveniencing her by being hurt. "You have let yourself go. You are always at home, no ambition, no excitement. You are comfortable, and comfortable is boring." I sat there stunned, unable to process what she was saying. This was my wife, the woman who vowed to love me through everything, telling me I was not good enough, not exciting enough, not worthy of her attraction. I wanted to argue to defend myself, but the words would not come. She stood up, grabbed her phone, and walked to the bedroom. I heard the door close. Then I heard the lock click. I spent that night on the couch staring at the ceiling, replaying her words over and over. "You have let yourself go. No ambition. Boring." Each word cut deeper than the last. Maybe she was right. Maybe I had gotten too comfortable. But did that justify what she said? Did that excuse the coldness, the rejection, the complete dismissal of my feelings? I did not sleep that night. I just lay there in the dark, feeling my marriage crumble around me. Over the following days, I started paying closer attention. Not because I wanted to spy, but because something felt wrong. Diane was different. She spent more time on her phone than ever before. When I walked into a room, she would quickly tilt the screen away or close whatever she was looking at. She laughed at messages, actually giggled, something she had not done with me in months. Her appearance changed too. She started going to the gym every morning before work, something she had never done consistently before. She bought new clothes, tighter fitting, more fashionable. She spent extra time on her makeup, her hair. At first I thought maybe she was trying to feel better about herself, boost her confidence. But then I noticed she only dressed up on certain days. Days when she said she had important meetings. She came home later and later. 10 o'clock became 11, sometimes midnight. When I asked where she had been, she always had an answer ready. Client dinner, team drinks, late project deadline. Her explanations were smooth practiced, too smooth, but I wanted to believe her. I needed to believe her. The alternative was too painful to consider. Then one Tuesday evening, everything changed. Diane was in the shower and her phone was on the kitchen counter. It buzzed. I glanced at it, not meaning to pry, but the message preview was right there on the locked screen. "Kyle-work. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Last night was amazing." My blood ran cold. I picked up the phone with shaking hands. Last night, she had said she was at a team dinner last night. She got home at 11:30, claiming they went late because a client showed up. I knew her passcode. We had always been open about our phones, or at least we used to be. My fingers moved before my brain could stop them. 6 digits. The phone unlocked. I opened her messages and found the thread with Kyle. My heart pounded as I scrolled up, reading conversation after conversation. Months of messages. Months of lies. Kyle was a manager at another company, someone Diane had met at a networking event 4 months ago. 4 months. They had been seeing each other for 4 months. The messages were intimate, affectionate, everything she had stopped being with me. He called her beautiful. She called him exciting. They talked about meeting at hotels, restaurants I could never afford. The Ritz-Carlton, Ocean Prime, places where they would not run into anyone who knew her. The shower turned off. I heard the bathroom door open. I stood there, frozen, phone in hand, as Diane walked into the kitchen in her robe. She saw me holding her phone, saw the expression on my face, and stopped. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then she said in a voice completely devoid of emotion, "You should not have looked." That was it. No apology, no explanation, no remorse. Just an accusation that I had violated her privacy by discovering her betrayal. "How long?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. She crossed her arms. 4 months. And before you start playing the victim, you pushed me away with your lack of ambition, your boring routine. Kyle makes me feel alive. I felt like I had been punched in the gut. So you cheated instead of talking to me, instead of trying to fix our marriage. She rolled her eyes. What was there to fix, Harrison? You are not going to change. You are content being mediocre. Kyle is successful, confident, knows what he wants. He treats me like I matter. And what do? I asked, anger finally breaking through the shock. I treat you like what? Like you are convenient, she said flatly. Like I am supposed to be grateful you cook dinner and do laundry. That is not romance. That is basic maintenance. Her words were designed to hurt, and they did. But in that moment, something shifted inside me. I looked at this woman, the one I had loved so completely, and realized she was right about one thing. I had let myself go. Not physically, not just in ambition, but in self-respect. I had spent months begging for scraps of attention from someone who did not value me. I had diminished myself, made myself smaller, hoping she would love me again, and she had taken that weakness and driven a knife into it. That night I did not sleep again. But this time, instead of drowning in pain, I started thinking clearly. Diane had not just cheated, she had blamed me for it. She had made me feel worthless, undesirable, boring. She had destroyed my confidence, then punished me for not being confident. And she felt no remorse. None. That told me everything I needed to know about where this marriage was headed. By morning, I had made my decision. I was not going to beg. I was not going to cry and plead for another chance with someone who had checked out months ago. I was not going to let her keep me as a backup plan while she explored her options. Instead, I was going to redirect everything I had been giving her. My time, my energy, my resources, my emotional investment, all of it would go into one person, me. When Diane came out of the bedroom that morning, I was already dressed for work. I looked at her calmly and said, I know about Kyle. I know everything. I am not going to fight for someone who does not want me. But I am also not going to be your safety net. From now on, we live separate lives under the same roof until I figure things out. She looked surprised, like she had expected me to fall apart. After a moment, she shrugged. Fine by me. And that was that. No big confrontation. No dramatic scene. Just two people agreeing that their marriage was over, even if the paperwork had not caught up yet. I walked out the door and went to work, feeling lighter than I had in months. Not happy, not healed, but clear. I finally knew where I stood, and I knew what I had to do. The next morning, I woke up at 5:30. I had not set an alarm that early in years, but I had a plan, and it started now. I put on workout clothes I had not worn since college and drove to the gym 3 blocks from our apartment. I signed up for a membership and met with a personal trainer named Luis. He was in his 40s, built like he could bench press a car, and had zero tolerance for excuses. I told him straight up what I wanted. I need to rebuild myself. Physically, mentally, all of it. He nodded like he had heard this story 1,000 times. Then let's get to work. That first session nearly killed me. Squats, push-ups, burpees, weights I thought were way too heavy. My muscles screamed, my lungs burned. But I pushed through every single rep because I had something to prove. Not to Diane, to myself. I started going every morning before work, 5:36 days a week. Luis pushed me hard, but I pushed myself harder. I changed my diet, cut out the junk food and beer I had been living on. I meal prepped on Sundays. Chicken, rice, vegetables. Boring but effective. Within 2 weeks I noticed changes. My clothes fit better. I had more energy. I stood straighter. Within a month I had dropped 10 pounds. Within 2 months, 15. My arms started showing definition. My face looked sharper. I barely recognized myself in the mirror, and I liked what I saw. But physical changes were only part of the plan. I enrolled in online courses for UI and UX design skills I had been meaning to learn for years but never made time for. I spent my evenings after work studying, practicing, building a new portfolio. I read books about personal development, financial independence, building a life worth living. I joined networking groups in my industry, started attending events and conferences. I forced myself to talk to strangers, make connections, put myself out there. One night at a design conference, I ran into Marcus. We had been roommates in college, best friends, but had drifted apart over the years. He had started his own tech company and was doing well. When he saw me, his eyes went wide. "Harrison, man, you look different. Good different." We grabbed drinks after the event and I told him everything. About Diane, the affair, the decision to rebuild. He listened without judgment, then said something that stuck with me.